New card. What do you think?
Get over here!
Hadouken! That man is playing Galaga.
I understood that reference.
You shall not pass! So say we all. So say we all.
Ride with me!
It's adamantium tasting time, boys!
Well, make it so, number one.
All wings report in. And welcome to your weekly interval. This is the Best Damn Nerd Show. I am your host, microphone alchemist James Kincaid. With me tonight, Imperial Commissar Jeff Budd.
Good evening, all.
Good evening. Happy belated Turkey Day to you, and also to you, Chief Science Officer of Star Labs, Mark Truex.
I've been stuffed like a turkey. How you boys?
I feel the same. A lot of good eating went down. Happy belated Thanksgiving to both of you. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everyone out in the Nerdosphere. And that's sort of where we're gonna start off tonight in this first segment. This is gonna be a little bit of a hodgepodge episode, some leftover things that we have to talk about here on the Best Damn Nerd Show. No major overarching theme other than maybe the Mandalorian season 2 will be taking up a good chunk of this episode because we've got a few episodes to talk about since we last got to speak on it. But before we get into all that, how you guys been? What have you been up to besides Thanksgiving? Mark, I understand you've been watching a new exciting show.
I have. I'm actually really excited to talk about it.
Lord.
So,
I wish you guys could see what I see.
I know. As listeners know, I love DC Comics, and when DC Universe was first revealed at Comic-Con a couple years ago, I thought it was exciting, and I never jumped on. So I didn't get to watch any of the original series or anything, and now that it's all finally rolled into HBO Max, I am watching Doom Patrol, and god damn it, do I love it. I'm only about 7 episodes in, and Brendan Fraser is delightful, as always. He never should have disappeared.
I'm glad he's getting a career resurgence there with Doom Patrol. I really am.
He's great. Timothy Dalton's great in it. Alan Tiddick's great in it. Really fun show. So I've been pumped. It's like, for the first time in a while, I'm actually watching a show where I'm watching multiple episodes in a row in a sitting. Hasn't happened for me recently. I usually am one episode and I'm done for the night. I'm down for the count. I'm an old man. But Doom
Spoiler,
Patrol
that's why Mark won't be on here for when we're talking about The Mandalorian.
That's right. I have not been watching those. Doom Patrol, count me in.
So sell me on it. What's the deal with Doom Patrol? Why should I watch it?
So it's a superhero team without it being very by the book superhero, if you would. It's more like a ragtag group of freaks. Doom Patrol first came around in 1963, I think it was, from DC Comics, and it's always been kind of these makeshift groups. That's actually where Beast Boy originated, who we most know for like Teen Titans and so forth. In the series here for HBO Max and DC Universe, Cyborg is actually in it, and the representation for Cyborg, and that's really good. But it's all these different people that have gone through different tragic accidents that now have superpowers, and they're all kind of living in this convalesced home, kind of like X-Men.
Do they use Brendan Fraser's real life tragedies for where he got his superpowers, or is it more comic book related?
No, he was a race car driver that became just basically a living brain in a robot body. So he's Robot Man, and he does really good with it. But very much a lot of similarities in Doom Patrol to like X-Men, but Doom Patrol predates X-Men.
Oh, you're quick. I'm glad you're quick to throw that out there.
Just saying, and they're all being raised under the tutelage of a man in a wheelchair, the Chief in this case.
Wait, are they really?
Yeah.
Is that from the comics in 1963 too?
Yeah. Yep.
Let's sell some more. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Holy crap.
Stan Lee is a scumbag. We know that Stan Lee is a scumbag. Right?
Oh my
God. It was the time in comic books.
Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Stan Lee, you may have heard of him. Where's Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol.
Oh my God. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, so what would you guys rather have?
Yeah.
Less representation of people in wheelchairs in comic books? I, for one, am glad that there's more than one character.
Just sounds like it was ironically, blatantly lifted and put into
Nothing
Marvel.
ironic about it.
Yeah.
Sounds felonious, though, potentially. Good Lord.
But the
comic books like
the
that were the
superpowers
Wild
were pretty
West
cool.
back then.
That they were. Yeah. And I just highly recommend checking it out. I mean, as I said, the story writing, the character development, the special effects, the filmography of it, there's lots of flashbacks back to like the 50s and 60s. Because Matt Bauer's character is an old experimental like pilot for the Air Force that comes in contact with this electronic cosmic being. And so it's constantly him going back flashbacks for settling in with that. One of the characters, Rita Farr, is like an old silver screen actress that becomes like the human blob, essentially.
Oh, you hate to see it.
Yeah, tell me about it. So it's just really unique characters. Great.
Is she like Clayface?
Really off the wall. Yeah, so she's Elastigirl from the comics. So basically think like Plastic Man and things like that, but it's like disgusting skin growthy sort of stuff. And so there's scenes where like she blobs out and destroys a town. And things. Yeah. It's good.
Got it.
Check it. If you're looking for something a little bit different down the path, but still harkens back into, you know, comic books and superheroes, it's just not your atypical group. But what's fun is like even with Cyborg being in the mix, which Cyborg is a really high profile character now, when he comes in, it's like his whole philosophy and thing with his dad is like just a couple more years of like doing stuff on the street level and I could be in the Justice League. And so his dad's looking down on the Doom Patrol. Groot's like, you're running around with a bunch of these circus freaks, you're Justice League material, why are you hanging out with these guys? And
yeah, he's hanging with a bad crowd.
Yeah, he's trying to add legitimacy, like we can be heroes, we can do this, and everyone's like, fuck you, Cyborg. Like, we're not heroes. This is stupid.
All right. I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never heard a pitch quite like yours, Mark. How deep into the show are we in Doom? 2 seasons now?
There are 2 seasons now, so I'm almost done with season 1. The main bad guy is played by Alan Tudyk, who is Mr. Nobody, who basically has this power set of controlling and shaping all kinds of reality and dimensions and things like that. And what's really neat in the show is he's the narrator. And so he's constantly breaking the fourth wall. And like, even when he's on screen, he talks about how he wasn't in the last episode and things like that. And he's like, kind of like the voice of God over people, where like, he'll be talking and narrating. Then people on screen will be like, who's talking? Like, who's saying that right now? So it's really well put together. It's a very fun ride.
And you've also been playing Age of Empires, I understand.
Yes.
Go ahead and shill why you've been playing that.
So Age of Empires 2.
Perhaps we could secure a sponsorship.
Yeah. Age of Empires 2 is one of my most favorite computer games growing up. And they released the definitive edition last year, I think it was. And so it's all kind of revamped. It has all the different civilizations together. Lots of great online play. You can get it on the Microsoft Store. And what's neat is they just celebrated their 1-year anniversary. So they released some new game modes in it, including Battle Royale, which if you ever played Age of Empires, you know, it's a giant battle map and you're slowly like building your towns and battalions and attacking other people and exploring the map, right? In Battle Royale, it's a non-civ, or rather non-villager mode where you're basically just roaming and pillaging the countryside with a band of militia, and you take over other barracks and things like that automatically start cranking gold and resources for you to keep building your armies. And it's an all-out fight to the death where slowly, with every second, the ring on the outside of the map is a ring of fire just laying waste that they couldn't they call it the the corruption. And it's just slowly burning everything in its path, forcing everyone into the center of the map together. And so you're just fighting and pillaging, trying to take each other's resources until it eventually like culls the whole crowd until there's one person left. It's really fun game mode. Really fun, fast paced. Yeah. No mining, no lumber logging, just murder and pillaging.
Sounds awesome. Jeff, I know you got a new board game as well that we've been texting a little bit about, and I know you've been on the Discord with it a little bit, the Power Rangers board game that you got. Tell our listeners a little bit about that.
I haven't really been playing it. I've been playing Ghosts of Tsushima. Instead.
Oh, well, that's fair. But what can you tell us about the game, though?
Oh, what about the Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid?
Yeah.
It's a 1 to 5 player, actually I guess 1 to 6 player with all the expansions. You're playing all the different Power Rangers from the show, going up against different monsters. In the base set, you go against Rita Repulsa's the main big bad, kind of like the first season of the series. I came in a little late and got a bunch of the expansions from the last Kickstarter, so I don't just have the original team. I also have Power Rangers Zeo, and then some of the other the allies of the Power Rangers, like Ninjor, stuff like that we were talking about on the Power Rangers Ninja Turtles episode. And then I think my favorite expansion set is probably just Legendary Power Ranger Tommy Oliver, which has all of Tommy's different skins, incarnations. Obviously the Green and White Ranger, which is how I know him best. Red Zeo Ranger. I don't think they have the Turbo Ranger in it, just because Turbo is going to come out as its own team probably next year, maybe the year after that. I don't know. I know they've got huge plans for this game as far as how many more different series and teams they want to eventually include in it. They have the rights to everything except for the movies, so there's never going to be Ivan Ooze or anything like that, because I think the movies are technically owned by Disney now, because maybe they were Fox or something like that. Everything else is owned by Saban again, and they have some sort of connection with this board game company. Disney did own the Power Rangers briefly, and then Saban bought it back from them for whatever reason. They sold it to them and then purchased it back.
Was this the game, by the way, that arrived to your house?
That huge box? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, I knew it was a lot of stuff. And I mean, my wife already knew what I had paid for it, which was it was over $600.
A mistake.
Yeah. But it's I mean, I don't think it was as bad just because I had already paid for it months ago. So it's I mean, fuck, we already spent the money. All right. So this is just the game now. And then the other thing that I like about it is it has the Shattered Grid storyline. So the evil Tommy Oliver, when he never becomes a good guy and just stays the henchman of Rita Repulsa and kind of ends up inheriting her empire. That's really sick. And he has the powers of the Green and the White Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, which is pretty cool. I just like the characters, the models themselves, because they're a good size. They're going to be easy to paint, so I'm really excited about that. They're much bigger than other board game pieces. I'd open one up right now, but we don't have the cameras for the show anyway, so it's not really necessary. But yeah, they look gorgeous. I really like the design of it. The mechanics of the game are very simple, so I'm not worried about any of that. Apparently, the 2-player game is supposed to be complicated, but they've updated the rules for that already, so I'm not too concerned there either. I remember it was actually just over a year ago that I found out that the board game existed in the first place, and I wanted to buy it then, but it was just the base set, in the store that I found, and I was like, it's $100. I don't know anything about the game. I think I'm going to hold off and wait, and I'm glad that I did, because apparently this company kind of has it all in a bundle sale constantly on Kickstarter, at least once a year, and where they add all the new stuff to it. And I'm kind of glad to just have everything in one purchase, and then to just go from there. Because I did my research. I decided it was a game I definitely wanted to have and to try out, and I'm very happy and satisfied with it. I would have played it more this week, but I just didn't really have the time. And then traveling back to Tsushima.
Yeah. How has Tsushima been treating you?
It's great. I'm on chapter 3, which I think is kind of appropriate for the season because it's all snowy and stuff. So it's kind of like Christmas in Tsushima. So yeah. I like that. I'm glad I wasn't
Wait
doing
till you
that
get
in
that
August.
that Santa samurai outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So
is that what the Mongolian armor looks like? I haven't collected the pieces yet.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's a fun quest line.
I'm really loving that game again. I never stopped loving it. It's just the school year started up again and work got in the way. But yeah, it was nice to have a little time off and to be able to just dedicate a few hours to doing that. Wrapping up chapter 2 was really good. I don't want to drop any spoilers for anybody who hasn't played it yet and is planning on it, but yeah, I definitely liked a lot of the stuff that happened there. It's very interesting what happened to a couple of characters. I was happy with what happened to somebody at the end of chapter 2.
Agreed.
Yeah, somebody who angered me in chapter 1. So yeah, all of that was delightful. Man, I've never been. I'm not gonna say that I was disappointed in the character, because I was disappointed in what happened in chapter 1. But it's like it continued to show
what a piece
who
of
they
shit
truly
he is.
were. Like what a how cowardly.
Yeah,
as far as the not the ultimatum, but like the deal that that character was coming up with, or it's like this is the story that we could spin. I was just like, no. Do you have any more honor to lose?
It's a shame too, because he was a cool character at first, but
introduction was very cool. I liked a lot of things about that character. I liked the design of the character, but oh my goodness, I was very unsatisfied. And then it was also probably the easiest tool I fought. I don't know why. I was just in the zone.
Oh, yeah.
He shredded.
Wrecked him. Yeah. And then I know the two of you, Mark and Jeff, have come together to record another Ultra Monthly. Anything that you can tease ahead for Ultra Monthly? I know you're wearing your Prime shirt, Mark. Theater of the Mind. But for those of you that would like to know, he is wearing a very cool Prime shirt. So tell us about Ultra Monthly.
That's right. Jump on now and check out Ultra Monthly Podcast, where Jeff and I talk everything Ultraverse, which is, of course, the dead universe from Malibu Comics, owned by Marvel Comics, owned by Disney. It's fantastic, and it's a fun time. Jeff and I get together once a month. We just released episode 29 called War Strike Day, where we basically do a review and deep dive on the character War Strike and his comic series. We give the results of our henchman draft throwdown from last month's episode, where a winner is crowned and 6 villains are killed in mayhem.
They were not killed.
They were destroyed. They were destroyed. And we have a lot of fun on it. So, if you like 90s comics, or if you want to hear a little bit something about some superheroes that you're not so familiar with, check it out. It's the Ultra Monthly Podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, anything and everything. Yeah. Check it out. Jeff loves it, as you can tell by his obvious excitement.
You said it all, Mark.
War Strike is not my favorite, but it still is a good episode. I will say this: December's episode will knock your socks off if you are an Ultraverse fan, and even if you aren't, you actually might still enjoy it. We've got a really good topic coming up.
And anything you can tease with that, or are you keeping it tightly wrapped?
Oh, I don't know. How would you want to tease it, Mark? I mean, I guess we could force it.
We could force it. You could jump on now and find out. All I've got to say is it's going to be bigger than the Avengers.
Wow, bold words.
That's how you make a splash in the 90s.
I like it. Yeah, that's how you make a splash page in the 90s. All right, let's talk about how was your guys' Thanksgiving? What you guys any Thanksgiving traditions that you all got? We're gonna do a Fantastic Four in a minute here on our Thanksgiving Day dishes. But how was your Turkey Day, bros? Marco?
Delightful. Every Thanksgiving we kick it off with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which was super cool that it still happened this year, despite COVID restrictions and everything.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it still happened. There was just no one on the streets. There's still floats.
But there was a rock fanny pack float this year, which I greatly appreciated.
So that I think that was just a digital rendering.
No, that was real, bro.
Was it?
Had to be.
Because I saw it go through, and I think that was just an ad for an upcoming rock show.
No,
that's coming along. Yeah, I think that is
Couldn't
a digital
be,
cartoon rendering.
Nah, man,
that was put in there. Yeah, and that's like the only thing that stood out on the internet for people is that the Rock got a balloon with the fanny pack.
I never watched that parade, and now I never want to.
Yeah, when I saw that, yeah, that's an ad. They did a lot of like VR augmented reality stuff this year. I was watching the Verizon feed for a while. There'd constantly be like blimps and things flying through the air that like aren't supposed to be there. Dolly Parton did a great set. She did some good music there. The Mean Girls Broadway musical looks delicious.
The hell does that mean?
I love it. I love the Thanksgiving Day parade. You get all these little snips of like Broadway musicals. You get giant balloons. You get a bunch of people waving and smiling stupidly. A bunch of pop stars just singing over recorded tracks. It is delightful.
Did you see the Power Rangers?
Love it. Yes, Red Ranger all the time.
Hell yeah, Jason.
Beautiful.
Forever
balloon.
red.
Yeah.
You can play as Jason in the board game if you like.
Or you can play as Jason you can play as Jason in Last Friday too. They just don't tell that to the the makers of Friday the 13th.
Actually, Jason is the boy with the vest, the one
That's true. The one I like. Yeah,
there is
true.
a Jason in Last Fridays on the campers.
So do you guys not watch the Thanksgiving parade?
I didn't. No, I mean I used to always watch it, but I didn't know it was even happening this year. And also this year we hosted for the first time. It was a small gathering, so we're all within health,
Magic the Gathering,
safe parameters, or however you want to refer to it as. But yeah, I was busy cooking and stuff. So if I wasn't cooking the turkey and some of the sides along with Jennifer, then I was in the living room and I was watching that Blood of Zeus show on Netflix, which is very good.
What's that about?
I really like that. It's like an untold Greek myth is the way they refer to it, and so it's another. I'm not spoiling too much because it's like revealed in the first episode. It's another one of Zeus's bastard sons.
There's a lot of them.
Dude, that guy cannot keep it in his toga, and I love it. And they're going up. He's going to be going up against like this demon cult where they can masquerade as humans. It's really fucking cool so far. I love the art style. Voice acting is really good. The art quality is great. It's very similar to the Castlevania series on Netflix in terms of just the crispness of the animation, but actually has a quality story where things happen in it. So that's where I guess the similarities ended. Castlevania, the TV show, stinks.
Yeah, and so do the creators.
More
I
than
thought they were very obnoxious.
A guy who admittedly says that he's never played any of the video games and so doesn't want to be influenced by the story. It shows.
All right, well, let's do a quick little Fantastic Four on our favorite Thanksgiving Day dishes before we go to break here. Mark, we'll start with you.
All right. So dishes for Thanksgiving. Fantastic Four. First off, fuck you if you eating ham, you got to have turkey. Number one, must have turkey served. If it's not turkey, it's not Thanksgiving. That's a fact. Two, you got to have the giblet gravy. You don't got the giblet gravy, you ain't having real gravy. That's just brown water. You need the giblets in there. That's the flavor. That's where it comes from. On top of that, green bean casserole. That's what I bring every single year. I love green bean casserole. I remember, I think it was my first Thanksgiving with my wife's family when we were first dating. And I was going to her house and I was like, oh, cool, Thanksgiving. You know, everyone has different traditions. Everyone serves different dishes. And I was like, you guys got like, like potatoes? Yeah, we got potatoes. Cool. You got like stuffing? Like, yeah. You got green bean casserole? Of course we have green bean casserole. Lo and behold, show up, no green bean casserole. None. And everyone's like, I don't even know what that is. And so now I make it every single year, and people love it because it's delicious. It's an essential.
Do you use Campbell's cream of mushroom?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Campbell's cream of mushroom. I throw in some extra soy sauce. I throw in some cheddar, some bacon if you got it.
Nice.
Absolutely love a green bean casserole. Mess up a tray of green bean casserole. And then lately, the last couple of years, I've really gotten into the sweet potatoes with marshmallows on top.
The candied yams.
Yeah, I've been really into that recently.
Still got some of that in my fridge.
Yeah, that'd be my 4. Yeah.
All right, Jeff, how about you?
My wife always makes the green bean casserole. That's like her specialty dish. So it's funny that it's yours, Mark. I would say, well, I mean, definitely turkey if we're talking about the main dish. Yeah, I can't imagine eating anything besides turkey on Thanksgiving. So turkey, mashed potatoes is my go-to side. It's the Robin to Turkey's Batman. Cranberry sauce was not mentioned, and I think it should be because it's a very important side. It's my favorite.
Awful.
Oh, you're an idiot.
It's like the worst dish.
No,
like never have it on the table,
dude. It's so funny that you should say that.
Cranberry sauce is on my list.
It's love or hate it. There is no middle ground with cranberry sauce. I also I'm one of these people. I prefer jellied. I don't like whole cranberries in my cranberry sauce. Keep it in the shape of the can itself. I don't care. That's how I want it. I want it processed cranberry sauce. James is making a face.
No. I mean, I love cranberry sauce, but I'll take it anyway. Like whether it's chutney or whatever. I think it's great.
And
yeah,
then,
we had a chutney last night, and I just sent it down the table. Like,
and then also, I like corn, so I think I'll go with corn, like loose corn, not on the cob. I like
a little creamed corn.
Creamed corn,
not creamed though. No.
No.
I need it to slide down the gullet faster. Creamed's the way to go.
See, I feel like I'm swallowing the food too fast at Thanksgiving. That's why I ended up not feeling too well. I didn't even eat that much, and I was stuffed.
The corn will help move it through. It's good.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I already mentioned 4, but I'm also just going to throw in pumpkin pie because I want to.
Well, there you go. Hey, that's at Thanksgiving you get an extra helping even on the Fantastic Four, I guess. I'm gonna go with turkey. Obviously, is the signature dish of Thanksgiving. Did either one of you mention stuffing?
Mark mentioned it, but not as one of his Fantastic Four. I don't like onions, so I don't like stuffing.
Stuffing is my absolute favorite part about any Thanksgiving dinner. I love a good stuffing. It's
cornbread stuffing
it's
guy?
the best. Yes, I am a cornbread stuffing guy. I'm a whatever kind of stuffing guy that you want to give me.
Was that a trick, Mark? What kind of stuffing do you like? Our salad.
I just like the regular old stovetop. Just I love, celery.
Dude, stovetop stuffing is great.
Great, especially when it's just like congealed into one block.
It's terrific. But I mean, I've had some friends over the years that they've had their own creative recipes. Some they've included like bacon or what have you. So like just some really good stuff. Stuffing is my absolute favorite, and then I go with the cranberry sauce as well. I just think it enhances. Turkey's not my favorite thing to eat, but with a little cranberry sauce and everything else, like especially the cranberry sauce, man, that thing, it's like putting makeup on that turkey. And she's a 10 now, so I love the cranberry sauce. I credit the cranberry sauce. That's what I like. And then mashed potatoes.
You would like my gravy, Mark.
Also on there with
mashed potatoes all day.
Yes,
all day,
all day.
You put some cranberry on that.
I do. I mix it all together.
Yeah, exactly. Same here, dude.
So gross.
No, it's delicious.
Much on the fork in one
dude.
No,
you put some of that cranberry sauce on top of the stuffing too, and you just get in every bite, you just get a good little.
We'll get you a little child's plate, Mark, where it's the little different compartments, so none of it all mixes together for you.
I like congealed bread and butter, no cranberries in the mix on the stuffing.
Mark was the first person I met that ate all of his sides first before eating his main course. It's the first person I ever saw do that.
Your main course will get cold.
Dude, it's about the sides. And that's what gravy's for. No, gravy's kept hot.
That's exactly why they're called sides. It's not about the sides. What are you talking about?
Dude, I mean, it's kind of about the
spread
sides.
Is all about the sides.
No, it's not.
I mean, I love stuffing more than anything else. I'd eat just that if it was socially acceptable.
That's why you have the gravy. It ties it all into one thing.
Mark went to a Thanksgiving dinner and there was no green bean casserole. He was disappointed. He goes to a Thanksgiving dinner and there's no turkey. There's no Thanksgiving dinner.
What is this, Boston
What if there's
market?
a ham? What if there's a ham or a prime rib?
I mean, fuck, I'll eat it.
Ham
like, come
sucks.
on. But
I love a good honey ham.
Sometimes a good ham's good, but I mean, that's like Easter, maybe Christmas. Prime rib's a real Christmassy thing,
Prime rib is awesome.
Prime rib is the best.
My family actually has turkey on Christmas too. We just do turkey on both.
That's not unusual.
That's why Thanksgiving almost seems so shitty by comparison, because it's like at our house, Christmas has like almost the same meal, and then also there's gifts and stuff. And it's like, man, Thanksgiving stinks. I mean, I like Thanksgiving. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, it's it's not my favorite of of the holidays. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, I hope you all had a happy one though, and gorge yourself on some good food, and that your main course stayed warm while you ate the sides, like Mark. But we're gonna take a quick break. On the other side, we're gonna play Nerdgasm or Nogasm, which is it's backed by popular demand. And so we'll do that on the other side of the Best Damn Nerd Show. Yeah, I know. Well, we're gonna have to fill in for Davis. we have to pick up the slack for him. All that and more coming up.
So, Tim, we're relaunching the Best Damn Nerd Show, but before we give our listeners any content, it's time to make a couple dollars.
Yeah, and I'm all about selling out. So, give me the money.
This episode is actually sponsored by Anchor.fm. We also use them as our podcast host. And they're really great because it's a free platform. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or computer. They also distribute the podcast, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Hence, this sponsorship read right now.
Well, that sounds perfect because I love money and I love things that are easy. So how do I get involved with Anchor?
It is easy money. It's free money. I mean, you're basically losing money if you don't start a podcast on Anchor.fm. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. You just got to download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started.
I'm on my way.
All right, on with the show.
All right.
Hey everyone, Chris Eglia here, CEO of the Tenno Media Network. I would like to say thank you for checking out one of our podcasts, but we need your help. You can support Tenno in a multitude of ways. By going to our website and checking out our latest podcasts, by buying some sweet merch, joining our Discord, or getting early and exclusive access to all content via our Patreon. Your support means the world to us, and you can find everything on our website, www.ten-o.gg. That's ten-o.gg. Thank you again, and now, back to the show.
It's me, Iron Nerd Min-Maxer, Hanzo Gonzo, inviting you into the Tenno Media Arena to see whose nerdiness will reign No, we're gonna get sued. Will triumph a lotly. Come check out all the battles on the Tenno Media Network Patreon, or you can just skip to the parts where Steve physically breaks something for no reason. See you there.
Welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. James Kincaid here with Jeff Budd and Mark Truex. And it's time, gentlemen. We're going to play Nerdgasm or Nogasm as we catch up on some of the things that have been spiraling about the Nerdosphere. And people want to know what you think about them. And the major one that we have to get into first is that the next generation of consoles being released, the PlayStation 5 and the latest Xbox. Nerdgasm or Nogasm for you guys about the next generation of consoles? Is anything hooked you that makes you say a Nerdgasm or a Nogasm? Jeff, we'll start with you.
Nogasm. Because nobody should ever buy a console on day one of release. You got to wait for them to work the bugs out, especially Xbox. Davis and I have talked about this before. We've been burned too many times by Microsoft, so we will not go back to the Xbox until those things are guaranteed to work right. And it's I was late to the game with PlayStation 4, so I definitely haven't played that enough yet to justify getting a PS5. And eventually, I don't know, I kind of want to go back to Nintendo someday.
And with bated breath, I am going to ask a man that has been playing a lot of Sega Genesis lately, Mark, Nerdgasm or Nogasm for these new console releases?
I actually got a Nerdgasm for the new console releases. So
This man's full of surprises, folks.
I know. I tend to skip every other generation when it's come to consoles. It's just how it's always been. And so my last newer console is the 360 and the PS3, right? And I still have games I'll go back and play here and there, things like that. And so now that this current generation is going to be behind us and the new one's coming, I'm kind of thinking about it. That would be freaking sick. So I keep telling my wife, who no doubt will hear this, and she tells me no. and God bless her for
Yeah.
it, because she's probably right. I probably don't need it because I get enough kicks out of my 64 and Sega.
Well, okay,
64 is still the best system ever.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
And this we'll kick it over to the Discord, which, by the way, bestdamnnerdshow.com/Discord. You mentioned N64 being the best system ever. I do want to follow up now that the next generation of consoles is out and have maybe a little bit of a bracketology involving the greatest consoles of all time, sort of a follow-up to our Halloween horror brackets. I think a console bracket leading into maybe an episode or another, not Sega versus SNES, but since we've already done that, but maybe PlayStation versus N64 or something comparable that we could discuss. So that's something that we'll kick it over to the Discord, see what you all think about it, and get some more listener input in terms of the seeding and the entries and everything like that. But I think that could be really fun. But with the next gen of
nice
consoles,
for GameCube to, get what's due. I feel it always got the shaft.
GameCube with like a Cinderella
the Lost
run
Prince
through the tournament.
returns and is finally celebrated for what it was. GameCube was a cool system, and I feel bad for it.
Hey, Eternal Darkness, man, and Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Perfection personified. That was such a beautiful Smash Brothers. A wonderful sequel. They moved backwards with the Wii, I felt, and then now it seems like they righted the ship. But
Melee's Big Blue stage was my favorite stage in the history of Smash
Brothers.
That's a fun
one, man.
So much fun, dude, and like the amount of it, just great stage
and adventure mode and everything. Yeah, they had a lot of cool stuff.
Lots of stories about that game and everything. But yeah, with the new console releases, I've had to put this in there too because one, I mean, God, they're expensive, and two, especially with the PlayStation 5, the amount of people that are just buying them all up and running, sort of like just jacking up the prices, gouging the market. I do have one friend that I sort of made it interesting. He bought an extra one and then had like a 35 person buy-in for like $30 or $40. So you like pick a number, and then he had a virtual roulette wheel. And so like if your number hits, then hey, you got a PS5 for like $40. But if it doesn't, then you're out the 40. That's kind of like, I mean, the gambler in me says that's cool, but there's a lot of like horrific scams out there going on too, and it's just the demand for it, and you see all these people. It's the same.
That's
it's kind of
disgusting.
It's kind of like at Comic-Con when you see those people buying up all the exclusives only just to turn around and jack up the price of their little booth.
You know what? I'm taking back my Nerdgasm. I'm going Nogasm now. I'm just
oh man, talk you out of it.
Not interested anymore.
Well, I mean, like I don't even know which games are out right now for the release and everything. I kind of want to play that Harry Potter game, but that's not coming out yet. And also, by the time that game comes out, is it going to be as cool as it looked? I don't know. Maybe not.
We'll see. It's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible.
I've seen that happen plenty of
times. My main thing is like I don't have that much time to really justify it,
And it's sad. I know, man.
The level of investment I can give, like it's rare, and I'm fortunate that Ghost of Tsushima came out during a pandemic. But usually my amount of investment I can put into a game is something like Fall Guys or Among Us. It's not a heavy amount of investment that I can put into a video game. So,
dude, Age of Empires, 15 to 45 minutes, you could get a nice even game out.
Yeah, we discussed your game, Mark.
Just say Battle Royale set to 30 minutes before the whole world explodes.
That's a valid point. John Berryman returning to Doctor Who for the holiday special. The cult favorite Captain Harkness coming back. Jeff, Nerdgasm or Nogasm on this?
If you are a Doctor Who fan, it is a Nerdgasm. No, I'm not a Doctor Who fan, so I don't give a shit. It's a Nogasm for me. I'm glad that he's going back. He should. He's definitely a beloved character. My mom got into Doctor Who because she used to watch Torchwood, the spinoff of Captain Jack Harkness. So, like, he's definitely a cool character that a lot of people appreciate. My whole thing is, though, I heard that, they kind of gave him the shaft, and it's like now that the show is suffering as much as it is, they got to go crawling back to him because, he's one of the things that people still appreciate and love about the series. I don't know if Doctor Who is going to fix itself until they just sort of clean house again with cast and like writing staff and all that jazz. But I don't know. I'm just watching it as like this casual observer. I don't know anything about the lore or really anything that's going on. I hear about the numbers and it seems like it's suffering right now. So
it does definitely feel that way in terms of bringing him back now to sort of pop a rating, so to speak. And why not have brought him back before? Because he's clearly a big time fan favorite. Mark, what say you? John Barrowman back on Doctor Who, Nerdgasm or Nogasm?
I'll give it a Nerdgasm because I like me some Barrowman. I wish him all the respect and success that he deserves, and I think he should get even more. So that being said, I am more of a casual fan of Doctor Who. I never made it through David Tennant's run, but I did get to meet Harkness, and that's cool. But John Barrowman coming back into the fold, I know he always loved the character, and you definitely see like how much he loves his fans from all different parts of his career is great. And so to see him come back and just reprise anything, I think is absolutely delightful. So have him come in, just that Doctor Who's doing a holiday special is pretty cool. So yeah, give that a Nerdgasm. Hell, I might check it out if I know how to find it. Like, I might check that out.
That's another thing that they had to go back and do. They used to always do a holiday special, then they backed off of that, and then they failed miserably, and now they have to do a Christmas episode again, or an episode that airs on Christmas. Like, apparently that used to be a tradition in England. And another thing that they tried to undo.
And to Mark's point in terms of, John Barrowman loving the fan base and everything like that, if nothing else, when Comic-Con does return, hopefully he'll have, once again, more stories that he can share.
Anything goes.
Yeah, whatever. He can sing Anything Goes. He can sing whatever he wants.
That's the name of his panel.
Oh, that's right. Well, it's a good song.
Well,
it's also a great song, and he sings, yes.
He doesn't need much prompting. He'll get up there and he'll do it.
But hopefully he'll have some more stories and sort of just bombastic things that he can talk about with this holiday special. So it's a Nerdgasm for me, too. Marco, Transformers, War for Cybertron, Earthrise, coming to Netflix December 30th, the follow-up to the first installment that we talked about at length on the Best Damn Nerd Show. Dude, if the rumors are to be believed, that we're getting a step closer to Beast Wars being on this thing. What say you, Mark? Nerdgasm or Nogasm?
Nerdgasm. So exciting.
I appreciate that,
dude.
Not
so
faking
excited,
that,
dude. I'm popping like a rocket right now. Transformers, War for Cybertron. I still feel like just looking back on it and seeing the teaser trailer for Earthrise, I feel like Transformers has never been cooler in my mind. I get it. They've been really popular before, but seeing what they're doing with Earthrise and just the whole tonality of the show, the representation of our favorite characters, the story writing is legit awesome, badass Transformers. And that's exciting. Earthrise looks absolutely fantastic. The mercenary legions that are going in there with their new monikers and things like that, I'm not familiar with. So that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it looks awesome to me. It gets, of course, a Nerdgasm from myself. Jeff, how about you?
That's a Nogasm for me. I don't give a shit about Transformers.
Dude, you love robots.
And I love cars, but when you combine the two, for whatever reason,
he doesn't get it.
What about planes? Throw a plane in there.
He doesn't get it.
I mean, no, Starscream is my favorite, but I don't know. I never got into it that much. I don't know why either. My parents bought me some of the toys. And I was like, I don't need this.
Dude, Zords are just like Transformers.
Jeff, you might not be into it, but you still had a great contribution to that Transformers episode as I was reading through your outline and came upon that John Cena joke. Yeah. Which, go back in the archives if you want to hear that. It's the Transformers episode. It's terrific. All right. Mark, you might... now, you saw the second episode of Season 2 of Mandalorian, right? Right, Mark?
I did.
Okay. Well, this next one is sort of a... not really Nerdgasm or Nogasm here, but fans trying to cancel Baby Yoda for the eating of the endangered species eggs, saying that it was, I don't know, an extinction event, and trying to cancel a fictional character online. Nerdgasm or Nogasm? Jeff, just your opinion.
Wait, am I Wait, what is the Nerdgasm or Nogasm about? Is it if I would want to cancel him, or my reaction to this?
I guess more so your commentary on humanity that this has even happened.
Oh, well, in terms of humanity, it's a Nogasm. I'm over it at this point. I'm waiting for the Tyrannid invasion so that we can all just be consumed as biomass and be done and over with. No, it's a Nogasm because this is just so stupid. One, Baby Yoda is more popular and powerful than anybody who would go up against him. And then two, they're unfertilized eggs, so like, it's not a life.
Oh my God, Mark. Where do you come down on this, Mark?
I don't understand. I missed it. I'm an old man and don't go on the internet much. I thought it was delightful seeing him suck down those little juicy popples, you know?
He's a baby. Like, who cares?
Little baby was hungry.
He's a baby who likes to eat things.
Yeah. Well, you tell me you don't like some good salmon roe or caviar? Come on.
Probably delicious. Really, no, I don't.
They're not my favorite things either, but I take your point, Mark. All right, Mark, we'll keep it right there with you.
I don't know why you cancel them.
Yeah, it's
how would you cancel them?
It's ridiculous.
I mean, you don't cancel the Empire, and they performed a giant genocide on Alderaan.
Well, I mean, the Empire was canceled. They were defeated and well, not wiped out because they're still very much around. But I don't.
And people still go back and watch them as far as cancel culture goes.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Mark. This one is.
Well, I think the difference is they are the bad guys.
Yeah, that's true.
They're painted as such.
We're going to keep it with
the good guys.
With Mark here. A new Star Wars documentary, A Disturbance in the Force. The subject matter of this documentary is the making of the Star Wars holiday special. Mark, Nerdgasm or Nogasm?
It depends on how they're trying to frame it, but I want to say Nerdgasm.
Absolutely.
Because I love the holiday special. Happy Life Day, everyone. And I would love to hear more about why this happened and more about why they tried to bury it. They should let it be.
I think that's exactly what you're going to get. So that sounds like, as you said, a Nerdgasm all the way. Jeff, what say you?
Finally, dude, a Nerdgasm. Yeah, no, I'm excited about this. I kind of like the holiday special. It's grown on me over the years. Now that
it's fun for us too, you know, because it's always something I think about between us on the Best Damn Nerd Show. You know, watching it at Mark's house. You know,
yeah, and the whole thing, at least a year ago, it was on YouTube because I made my wife watch it. She still hasn't forgiven me because the whole thing is horrendous.
B. Arthur's delightful and dry.
She really hated it. She's not even a big Star Wars fan, but trust me, she hated it. It was cool to watch the whole thing. And I still think that cartoon with Boba Fett is sick. I thought that was a cool introduction to Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I wish that they would take some of it and make it canon, or at least sort of pretend it was canon, or not ignore it completely. And I do like the idea that it bothers George Lucas so much that it exists and people know that it exists. So, I mean, you can't defeat the man. All right, he's too rich and powerful. And it's like, I'm glad that that's bothering him.
He can't undo it.
Yeah, I'll take that.
It's all we have.
You gave me the Phantom Menace. I give you that. We'll never forget that this exists.
You can't unring that bell.
George.
Can't unring that bell. Yeah. All right, I think this will be another Nerdgasm across the board here, but Wonder Woman 1984, it will be released in theaters and on HBO Max on Christmas Day. I'm saying Nerdgasm all the way here. I think for, you know, the people that, you know, I don't know what's going on with theaters. I know Davis went to see New Mutants or whatever, and it seemed like, you know, fine, and everything was distanced and completely empty.
Nobody was there. Honest. It was like four people, including him and Courtney.
But, you know, the fact that, look, this movie looks awesome, so I'm happy that they're finding a way to release it to everyone, and hopefully it will be successful. So I'm saying Nerdgasm for Wonder Woman 1984 getting this double release. Jeff, what say you?
I'm saying Nogasm. I'm kind of indifferent to it. I'm not as excited about this Wonder Woman movie as you guys. Now, I didn't watch the latest trailer or whatever that you were all discussing.
Sexist
on
pig.
That one episode. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And then the fact that it's going to be in theaters and streaming, it's like, I just don't care anymore. If anything, I've learned this year, it's that if Hollywood could just go away, it could just go away. And I think I have a collection of enough movies to watch, and I'll be fine.
I mean, you're not
wrong. We could just be done making movies now. All right.
All the best movies have already been made, Jeff Budd.
I kind of wonder.
Mark, what about you? Nerdgasm or Nogasm?
Nerdgasm. Hard nerdgasm. I am not going to the movie theaters. Hell no. And the fact that it's on HBO Max, I just hope they have enough servers up and running so it doesn't crash, because I could see that happening. Who isn't going to go watch that? Just free streaming. Not like Disney charging $30 for fucking whatever their last movie was on there. Mulan. Yeah. Crap. Put it out for free.
Racist and sexist. You're not going to pay $30 for Mulan?
I mean, it was all right. Not going to lie. I did see it.
The live action one? Really? Oh, no.
But you're not going to jump at it right away. You know what I mean? Not when I can watch Wonder Woman 84 for free on the Max. That is going to happen, my friend.
I can't take any more shit in the 80s, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's delightful. It's great. And Christmas, quintessentially, is a true X movie-going holiday. The last few years, it's been whenever like a new Star Wars movie comes out or things like that. It's always happened. Go see a movie. All the way back to Gangs of New York. Delightful. So the fact that I get to see a new movie come out, and a Hollywood theatrical movie, mind you, not just some stream service good quality thing, but like an actual theatrical movie.
You think it's a separate city that makes those films? It's the same movies. It all comes from the same source.
The intention of the guy behind the rigs, like, this is going to be on the big screen. It puts a little extra oomph into that story than someone that's like, this might be streamed somewhere on the small screen. It's just the intention and
so I shouldn't watch Doom Patrol because it's just shit that goes straight to the streaming service.
Dude, it's great TV. It's great TV.
It's not great TV. It's just, it's a streaming thing. It's not going to be on Primetime Network.
Here's what I mean.
Why should I watch it? Because it's on TV.
A movie made for the big screen and a movie made for the television.
It's not television, though.
Change
like
my
Young
mind.
Indiana Jones was made for.
I know what you mean.
So
though.
Young Indiana Jones,
just
delightful,
and the
delightful,
yeah.
but not the same as Last Crusade.
There's nothing better than a chagrined Mark Shurex after the history class crapped all over Young Indiana Jones.
There was vampires.
No, he fought Hitler, dude. He did that. It's historically accurate.
So yeah, big nerdgasm on 84.
Oh my god. All right. Supernatural bringing the curtain down after 15 seasons. Jeff Budd, did you end up checking out the last episode? And just overall, nerdgasm or nogasm for this? I mean, them getting their send-off and everything.
Dude, I don't have cable. I don't watch TV.
Oh, okay, I thought you said in Discord that you were going to check it out.
I'll check it out like when it eventually airs somewhere, maybe.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Well, nerdgasm or nogasm on the, Supernatural 15 seasons. 10 too many?
Yeah, 10 too many, perhaps, but I'll still say nerdgasm just because, I don't know, the legacy of it. I still appreciate it for what it was. I still think Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki are cool guys. It also is weird to me, like, that came out before Hurricane Katrina. Like, that's how old it is. Like, it was on the WB and made the crossover to the CW. It was like one of the few things they held on
that
to.
Survived.
They just like purged the rest. But like Supernatural, it was also like the one thing on the CW that wasn't superhero related that was still doing well in the ratings. And I think it's important for a network to have some sort of identity that isn't, just reliant on DC Comics.
Yeah.
That's how Mark stays on this podcast, Jeff. Watch your mouth. Mark, nerdgasm or nogasm on Supernatural?
Oh God, that's hard. I was conflicted. I was gonna give it a nerdgasm, but for the wrong reasons. I want to give it a nerdgasm just so both of those guys could finally hang up their hats on those characters and go do something else. Because I like them. I do like them. Supernatural, I haven't watched a whole lot. I think I've seen the first season and so forth. And
That's a good
I
season.
never got through the Monster of the Week kind of ordeal that it was. And there's a lot of shows like that on the CW. I can only have so much. And I am guilty of the superhero. Give me the cape and the cowl for sure. 15 years seems like a long time, doesn't it? It's probably good they're moving. It's probably good they're moving on. That's how I'm feeling with it.
Yeah, no, I think Nerdgasm for, like you guys said, 15 years, a great run. The quality may have suffered in the later seasons, but big fans of Jensen and Jared. And they created an iconic TV duo. And so Nerdgasm for that, and best of luck is, they move on to other things, and inevitably they do some sort of reunion thing 20 years from now or 10 years from now when they have to do that. So,
and props to Misha Collins. I still remember when Castiel was a new character.
Yeah, for real. I remember.
So bizarre to me. I remember when it's like I used to just refer to him as the Angel guy, because I didn't really know his name that well yet. Remember when I identified that guy as dressed as Castiel at Comic-Con and it made his day?
Yeah.
It's like before everybody started dressing like that.
Yep. I do remember that. All right, and finally, before we end this segment, The Undertaker. Yes, professional wrestler, The Undertaker. He brings the curtain down on his own career after 30 years. Maybe
That's two
greatest...
Supernaturals.
Yeah, exactly. The most supernatural character in WWF/WWE history, The Undertaker, calls it a career after 30 years. He said his farewells at Survivor Series. Pretty incredible mark that he left on pro wrestling, on pop culture. The Undertaker is pretty unforgettable. So I'm saying Nerdgasm to that. Marco, how about you?
I thought it was done already, but I'll throw a Nerdgasm his way. Forgive me. Did he ever lose his streak?
He did.
Yeah.
He lost twice at WrestleMania. He lost to Brock Lesnar, and then he lost to Roman Reigns.
It sounds like he's retiring
he's
too
lost
late.
Twice?
To Roman Reigns.
What a loser.
Ugh. But he gets Superman punched.
Dude, Roman Reigns is awesome now, though, is the thing, Mark. That's how long you've been out of it.
Kool-Aid drinker.
No, he's a bad guy now, and it's incredible. He's probably going to kick The Rock's ass at WrestleMania. It's going to be great.
Nobody kicks The Rock's ass.
Roman Reigns is going to kick The Rock's ass. Jeff, what say you, Nerdgasm or Nogasm, about the career
I'm kind of with Mark,
The Undertaker?
man. I thought he was already done.
I mean, he wrestles once a year?
Pretty much, yeah.
I thought he just comes back for the WrestleMania thing. That's why it's so weird that he said goodbye on Survivor Series, even though I know that's where he made his debut. Hey, some of us watched it live, James.
I'm just saying. Brother Love wasn't there, though.
He's kind of like the human supernatural in the sense that it's like way past when he should have ended. Honestly, I don't think the streak should have ever ended. I think they should have just let him go out with it. I think he should have ended with 20-0. I feel like did he go 20-1? Is that when he first lost?
I believe. Let's see. Yeah, that sounds right. Maybe it was 21-1.
Oh, 21. Okay. Yeah, I don't even want him going 21-0. That's a weird number. 20-0 is how it should have been. Unless
because Paul Heyman,
is that when Triple H beat the shit out of him and then still somehow loses the match, and then Triple H walks out of the ring and the Undertaker had to be taken out on a stretcher. I almost spit on my TV when I was watching that bullshit. It's disgusting. And for the WWE to forget that it was the Undertaker was one of the few people that was really holding the line when WCW was about to wipe them out. The Undertaker was always there and always consistent as far as just his badassness goes. I was never a huge Undertaker fan, but I recognize him for the importance that he is in WWE history.
What do you?
It's a Nerdgasm, I guess, just for the end of the career. But oh man, I don't know. I'll remember him for what he was and not what he became.
Yeah, looking back at the American Badass Undertaker,
we don't talk about that.
Biker Hell's Angel with his sidekick Pops.
Dude, that is the Halloween 3 of the Undertaker career. All right, didn't happen. Did not happen.
It did happen.
No, it
Did
didn't.
it my way.
And well, first of all, that was not his theme song, but it was the great theme of WrestleMania X7, at which WrestleMania he had the very best match of 3 matches with Triple H at WrestleMania. The best one happened while he was still Biker Taker at WrestleMania X7. American Badass Taker has not aged the best, I will grant you, but he did do some cool stuff with the gimmick.
Come on. No. Oh, stop. This company, man, looking for sniffing around for a job. Get out of here. You can say
Big Eve,
knock it off, Bruce. It's stuck.
I was there. Were you there? All right, we're gonna take a break. On the other
biker gimmicks.
There's no box of biker gimmicks.
James, I gotta ask, who booked this shit?
I booked this shit. And I booked this podcast. So we're going to take one more break. On the other side, Jeff and I will be getting into The Mandalorian and whether it's been warm or whether it's been cold in season 2 on the Best Damn Nerd Show. It's the microphone alchemist Bimbo Jimbo here. And when I'm not verbally super kicking Last Jedi fans on the Best Damn Nerd Show or fantasy casting The Rock in another movie on the DLC, well, that's when I actually get to talk about wrestling. That's right. Come join me in the Wrestling War Room, where I take my mic to the mat and launch my hot takes about the Wednesday Night War between AEW and NXT. The Wrestling War Room. Which side are you on?
Hey guys, it's the loquacious anime and manga lover Jahns here. Now I have watched a lot of anime, and I've read an abundance of manga, so you would think that I have a pretty interesting opinion on the culture. From classics like Golden Boy and Ghost in the Shell, to masterpieces such as Psycho Pass and Gantz. Come and join me as I talk about the world of anime and manga, which has had a huge impact on my life. And who knows, whatever I talk about and recommend to you guys could become one of your favorite series.
Ammo with Jammers.
And welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. James Kincaid now in just with Imperial Commissar Jeff Budd.
I'm the only one who's still allowed to talk to you about The Mandalorian. Removed everybody else.
God, what is it about trying to talk about The Mandalorian on the Best Damn Nerd Show? There's always some sort of weird sort of circumstances that I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah, I was excited to talk about it with you and Mark. Come to find out before showtime that Mark
disagreed with you and you said, that's it, you're out of here.
You're finished. Get out. But yeah, so Mark apparently has not been watching The Mandalorian, so he will not be joining us for this segment as we didn't want to spoil anything for him. Even move the show around to end the episode with this. But we have a few episodes to go through since we've last had the chance to talk about season 2. Was hoping that maybe we could do more week by week, blow by blow, but stuff happens. So, and maybe that wasn't for the
people online doing that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But we do it better. So here we go, season 2 of The Mandalorian thus far, and maybe it was for the best too, because I thought the second episode of season 2. Keep in mind, I love The Mandalorian, but I thought that episode was probably the weakest of the 2 seasons or the season plus that we've had so far. I know we talked about it a little bit in Nerdgasm or Nogasm, but it wasn't the fact that Baby Yoda was just eating those eggs, which I do think was a dick move. Didn't paint Baby Yoda in the best light, but yeah, overall, I just didn't really love that episode. What did you think about it?
I thought like the ice spiders looked cool and stuff, but other than that, no, I thought it was pretty boring. I mean, nothing happened. Like, I'll tell you, this season, I don't know, maybe it's just having heard what John had to say about it. It's all becoming like more apparent to me. That's like a lot of his criticisms and everything are somewhat, I don't know, they're ringing true. And that episode was a pretty good example of that, where it's like, what are we doing? I miss the days where a television series actually had like a full season. It's like, we're not getting that many episodes of Mandalorian. It's like, you can't afford to have filler episodes like that. I have no problem with filler episodes, but you have to produce more in order to create those.
Yeah, it was a weird... I completely agree with you on that too, because I think I even texted you about it. Like you faked me out and thought, like, made me think that you felt differently about it. But it really was, I think, came to both of our minds that was the quintessential what John's been talking about with the Mandalorian, right? Like that episode was either his worst nightmare or his ultimate validation for the Mandalorian. So maybe it's for the best that we didn't get an episode right after that. But I thought after that, I thought the show's really been picking up steam again. Like I that to me was, the low point. The third episode where he meets up with the other Mandalorians. We got Sasha Banks cameo, which was cool. I like the fact that we got the Mandalorian on the high seas. It's something you don't normally really see in Star Wars, which we got to see the Quarren race of aliens, which, God, what a bunch of pieces of shit they turned out to be.
Well, those ones in particular, we can't speak for the entire species.
Well, I don't know, man. Like in the Star Wars customizable card game, I think they were all dark side. Although maybe I'm wrong about that, actually. Now that
the rules are too complex to know for sure. I collect it for the pictures and the flavor text.
But it was cool to see them though, and I liked seeing Kara Thrace, Katie Sackhoff, reprising her role as Bo-Katan. What did you think about that episode and just how it all played out? I thought we got to see Mando be pretty badass in it. Like when he makes that charge at the end on the Imperial ship, I liked that a lot. And I liked also how the Imperials were portrayed in it.
The Imperials were awesome in that, especially the guy who, I know he played the Man in Black on Lost, and he was the Horseman War on Supernatural. And I know he's in other things too, but he was the Imperial officer who basically was going to crash the ship. He shot the two pilots when it was obvious that they weren't going to win. I liked a few things about that episode. One, I did like the stuff on the high seas, and it kind of justifies the train heist in the Solo movie where people are like, they've got spaceships, why would they have trains? It's like, we have airplanes. We don't take all of our cargo and just like travel through the air. We still use other means of transportation for stuff. It's like on different planets, they're still going to use waterways. They're still going to have rail systems. So I think all of that is justifiable, especially now that we know that, fuel isn't an unlimited resource in the Star Wars galaxy. It is finite to a certain degree, so it wouldn't be affordable to just put everything on some sort of carrier. Seeing other Mandalorians in action, I always think is kind of cool. I don't give a shit about the Bo-Katan character or whatever, because like, I watched some of Clone Wars and I liked it, and I watched Star Wars Rebels and I did like it, but those series will never be as important to me as, well, obviously the movies, but I don't know, any of the live action stuff too. And that probably going to bring that up again when we talk about the latest episode of The Mandalorian. I think my problem with The Mandalorian when it comes to covering that type of material is you have to introduce it better than they have been. It's not the same as if Obi-Wan Kenobi came walking on screen.
I totally get you.
Like, the movies are widely watched. Not everybody knows who those other characters are. And I watched The Mandalorian with two people who, who don't know that much about Star Wars. They've seen all the movies, though. And so, like, I have to fill in the blank on some of those things or just let them write it out. And I just don't feel there's enough depth on the show to really justify all of that stuff. I'm trying to think what else there was on that episode.
I like that his sect of Mandalorians were kind of religious zealots.
I think they had to do that because we've seen too many Mandalorians with their helmets off. And it's like, wait a minute, you can't create this new stupid rule that nobody asked for.
But I mean, in terms of a cover, not that bad, because I love a good religious zealot. You know this. So
that you do.
He reminds me of how I approach the Star Wars universe. So it's like, I approve of this.
Yeah. You can always tell a Jedi, man. That really was a very simple and clean way to explain all of that. And it's like, all right, yeah, cool. He's just one of those Mandalorians.
Yeah, they're super intense and
kind of nutty, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it was elegant in its simplicity, and maybe eventually opening a doorway to move away from that. I thought that worked. What'd you think? I know she didn't have a ton of screen time or lines or anything, but Sasha Banks in The Mandalorian, your thoughts?
Totally didn't notice her. Didn't find out that she was in the episode until afterwards when people were talking about it online. I don't know if I wasn't even looking at the screen at the time or what happened, but yeah, that just came and went for me. Did not know, did not care, honestly.
I mean, that's kind of a compliment to her, at least, because at least you didn't notice her sort of like standing out in terms of being bad.
Yeah, I'll give her that. Yeah, it's not like Sasha Banks took me out of the story or anything like
that mechanic on Tatooine.
I just like the baby.
It's terrible.
What are you looking at?
Gave her more lines in season 2.
That's what with the ice spider episode. We didn't talk about that. She was in that episode more than she was in the other episode. Like they had a whole scene of her giving more information.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Well,
it was delightful.
The one thing, no, it was not.
John was really upset by that.
We all were, except for you.
It's like. That's the Star Wars Christmas special to your George Lucas, guys, and I'm glad to know it's out there and it's bothering you.
The one thing I will say for the Ice Spider episode is that it
reminded me of Couture. Is what
it did. It did remind me of that, and I do think it looked good. And if they had added some more things, but in terms of story, what it did for the story is. It was a purpose to halt the Mandalorian, that where for 2 episodes he had to get his stuff fixed. So like that's what
that can be explained in like a 5-minute scene, though.
Sure,
you know what I mean, some sort of space battle or whatever.
Absolutely, somebody else is still tracking, the child or what have you. But it did lead us into the next episode where he went back to Navarro and met up with Carl Weathers and Gina Carano, Grief Karga,
directed by Carl Weathers,
Cara Dune. Yeah, and I thought this was a great episode. Was a ton of fun. And I see why, the rumors have been swirling about, Cara Dune getting her own sort of Mandalorian spinoff. They definitely have a point at the end of this episode where that looks viable. I hope she just stays on the Mandalorian, though. I like her being with Mando, being with Carl Weathers and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed this episode. It was... I love them sieging the Imperial base that turned out to be where, like, whatever weird experiments they were doing. There was some, like, really cool stuff in this episode, and I thought everyone got to shine, especially Cara Dune's character, looking like just a super badass. Like, I loved her, like, ramming the guy in the speeder bike into the side wall of the rock formation, just going, woo! She was great. She to me is an awesome Star Wars character, along with Grief Karga. Horatio Sands' character... My initial reaction was like, we don't need to bring everybody back that we've seen before, in this episode. To like,
what, are we taking everybody?
Yeah, exactly how I felt. Like, we don't have to tie everything into this neat little bow. But the whole indentured servitude angle working off his debt was kind of interesting, I guess. What did you think about this episode?
Enough about the expansions or spin-offs or anything like that. I don't think any of these characters need to have their own show. For sure. I also they need to slow down a little bit with Star Wars and just try to focus on a couple of things at once. And it's like right now you got this Mandalorian show and that's fine. I don't think they need to have anything else project wise that covers this era of Star Wars. I think otherwise it's just going to get too shitty.
Well, look at what happened with the CW.
Some sort of like cartoon adventure with like Luke, Leia, and Han after Return of the Jedi. Like, I don't know, maybe you could do that.
Look what happened with the CW.
What a jumbled mess.
Arrow was really good, and then they sort of tried to run before they could walk, ironically, when they spun off into the Flash, and from elsewhere it just all became more and more sort of watered down.
I feel like Arrow and Flash, it wasn't too bad, but you're right that then it like exponentially grows and it gets much worse. And I mean, we didn't really even get a chance for Captain Cold to super shine on the Flash before he's already taken away and put on another show, and it's like, that completely ruined it. And then the Flash was weaker for it because that was one of his best villains. I thought Wentworth Miller did a great job because he really hammed it up.
He did do a great.
The Flash.
What you got to do, baby?
They put him in the parka, and the man acted the part. Like it
was great.
That's what you do. It was fun. Remember when like DC superhero shows were fun? Like that's what that was.
I absolutely do. And the Mandalorian to that
Sorry,
point,
Mandalorian fans, we spun off for a second.
we went on a little tangent here, but no, but it's well taken because this is a fun show. Like I find myself as it makes me smile and I'm totally bought into it. Like as a Star Wars fan, it's just super enjoyable. Is it the Citizen Kane of storytelling? No, it's not. But I don't need it to be that. And I do think that we're getting enough like lore fleshed out, or at least sort of like verisimilitude and like the callbacks to things that have already been in the Star Wars universe. Like the fact that we see the Quarrens, the Cyclops alien races coming back and sort of having an actual role in the already established universe. That's really cool to me as a Star Wars fan. So like I super appreciate all of that stuff that we get to see.
I don't know if it's always lore building and story craft, or if it's also just Easter egg inclusion and stuff like that. I feel a lot of things just sort of get jammed into the show. I don't want to say for fan service. I think they are just borrowing from things that belong in Star Wars. But I don't know. It is a pretty shallow show. I still think it's fun, and it's fun to watch. The episode that we were just talking about where he met up with all of his old friends again, I'll be honest, man, like, it didn't come out that long ago. I already remember like very little of it. Like it was fine at the time, but it's like there's no lasting impact for me. Apparently, one of the things they were talking about was like the cloning tech or whatever, which can justify how, or not justify, but explain how the Emperor came back in Rise of Skywalker. Don't do that, guys. Steer away from that. Don't try to tie this in with the sequel trilogy. Or try to explain anything that happened with the sequel trilogy. Just build off of what you have and focus on that lore. That's what I would say there. As far as
I'm very worried that that's exactly what they're going to do, though. I'm terrified.
Well, I mean, because I mean, they can't just abandon what most of Disney Star Wars is. I feel, and it's like if this is what's working, I feel that they're going to ruin it by
they're trying to sprinkle Mandalorian. They're trying to sprinkle Mandalorian dust on the sequel trilogy, but that's not going to help people feel better about the sequel trilogies because it's going to make people feel worse about the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I don't think they realize that yet, though, and we'll see what happens. Though, I mean, maybe that won't be the case. My whole thing is the Mandalorian is set much closer to Return of the Jedi than it is to The Force Awakens. You don't need to have that many links to The Force Awakens or the other films. A lot of time is still in between those. So, like, don't feel necessary to, like, set it up where... Like, I never want to see the First Order mentioned on The Mandalorian. Like, I just don't want to. I think it's fine that we have these Imperial splinter cells.
I think that's like really cool, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, does it not make sense if it's a galaxy-spanning military and government that it's like it's still going to be intact almost everywhere?
Yeah, Well, and I just really love how they've been sort of portrayed too, like that officer with the Star Wars version of the cyanide capsule and he killed himself.
Yeah, that was
awesome. Yeah. I love that. I do think though that whatever they're doing with the experimentation could lead into the sort of the Emperor clones and stuff like that, which I won't like, but I bet you it'll come off better in The Mandalorian than it did in Rise of Skywalker. I'll take your word for it. I hadn't seen it, but refused.
Someday we'll get you.
The one thing about The Mandalorian, or one of the things about it too, is I believe in that episode where they siege the base is they made a not so thinly veiled midichlorian reference. When
they did.
Scientist
that was another one of the other experiments that they were doing. Was blood from the child, right? That they were trying to inject into test subjects to try to give them force sensitivity powers. And
they talked about his M count, I think they called it, or something like that. Which, I think the Mandalorian has helped. It's helped me. It's helped me get by a lot. I am a happier Star Wars fan today because of The Mandalorian. And whereas, like, if some other property had done that, I probably would have gone into a rage about how stupid midichlorians are. But the thing that The Mandalorian has also done is it has also turned Jedi back into sort of a religious sorcerer type sect, and how they're talked about. And so I do think that they are striving to make all segments of the audience happy little by little. They're not completely ignoring the prequels, but they are leaning more heavily into the original trilogy, which I appreciate. I don't know. It was impressive to me that I didn't mind that, which, you know, a few short years ago, Jeff, hell, maybe even 2 years ago, I would have been beside myself.
I know.
About
Now, is that because The Mandalorian is hitting all the right notes with you, or because so much Star Wars has hurt you so much that now you're just grasping at straws and you'll take what you can get?
I think it's because The Mandalorian's hitting all the right notes with me. It's built up a lot of goodwill.
I hope that's the case. Yeah, I hope you're just enjoying. My problem with The Mandalorian is I feel that both the praise and the criticism that it is getting online is unjustified. I don't think it's as good as the people that adore it are saying, and it's nowhere near as bad as the people that are shitting on it are saying.
Certainly on this show.
The people who are shitting on it... I'm not even talking about those two lunkheads, but like the other people that are criticizing it, it's like they clearly just have a hard-on for hating Disney, and they can't even admit when Disney does something at least slightly right. And
yeah.
And part of it, I feel, is they've gone on some sort of like weird political tirade against the Star Wars movies or some sort of personal vendetta against it. And there's a million reasons to hate the Disney Star Wars movies. It doesn't mean that you have to hate everything that Disney does Star Wars related. You can always move on to the next project and hope for the best, especially because it always seems to be new people attached to it anyway, so you never know what the hell you're going to get.
I mean, again, I originally wasn't even going to watch this. But the trailer hooked me. So because I tapped out after last night. It was an incredible trailer. I remember texting it to you, like, don't share this with the congregation, but I think I might have to watch this show. And so it's completely won me and it's made me interested in watching things like Clone Wars and Rebels. So I will seek those out. So let's get into the most recent episode.
Hell yeah, dude.
As of the air date of this podcast, the episode titled The Jedi. Where the Mandalorian finally meets up with one of those weird sorcerers that have been at the war with the Mandalorians. We got Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka Tano, which I know you and Mark both sort of were not fans of when we did the first Mandalorian episode here. Everything that I've heard, she's a fan favorite character. People are very excited about this. I came in with very little knowledge of her. I've seen her. I guess she was one of Anakin's Jedi masters that helped teach him.
No, you're wrong right there.
Colleague.
That is Anakin's student.
Oh,
That's
Padawan.
his Padawan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. My apologies.
Yeah.
Sorry. Again, I've been hurt.
She was a teenage girl during the Clone Wars. It was weird for her to be teaching him.
Yeah, well, it was weird that Obi-Wan was like Jack in that tiny little Padawan desk while everybody else was a little kid, and he was clearly an adult. Stupid. But I digress. At the timeline of the prequel trilogy,
I think you just rocked that hair for a while. That's all.
No, he hadn't even taken the trials yet. It was dumb. Anyway, we got Ahsoka Tano in this episode. We got Michael Biehn.
Hell yeah, dude! I was so stoked when I saw him. I was like, "Is that Michael Biehn?"
It's like very grizzled Michael Biehn.
Well, he's been grizzled for years now. Thinking Planet Terror when he was the
absolutely.
Sheriff. And it's like,
he was great in that.
Michael Biehn. He was.
That's what he does now.
Yeah,
that's awesome, what he does. I wish we got more of him in this episode. I again really enjoyed this. We learned Baby Yoda's name in this episode, which that's a risk. At this point too, putting a name to him, and are people going to like it? Are people going to shit on it? My reaction was Dragon Ball Z. What's a Grogu? So that was, I'm still going to call him Baby Yoda or the child. What did you think of this episode and some of the things that came? I mean, I'll just say Grand Admiral Thrawn was referenced in this episode. So fuck yeah, I'm in. Grand Admiral Thrawn, live action Star Wars. Bring it on,
Admiral
baby.
Jeff was already on the show.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't even make
Admiral Jeff was first.
Yeah. I go first, Thrawn. But yeah, Grand Admiral Thrawn mentioned by name in a live action Star Wars property. Like you said, I know he's on Rebels. It's different, though, for it to be sort of dropped in here. This is more important.
It is.
And he's
on like a whole season of Rebels.
I came unglued for the reference for the name drop, though, because if we could get a live action Thrawn in this Filoni-verse, Mandalorian-verse, I would be very excited for that. But what did you think about this episode and some of the revelations of it?
I don't like Ahsoka Tano for the most part. I still don't like her all that much. her and Rosario Dawson is almost like perfectly cast for her because they both fall under the same category for me of I just don't get it. I never really got Rosario Dawson. I was never into her. I was never a fan of really anything that she has done. I find her very forgettable and replaceable. And Ahsoka Tano, I just don't find to be that great of a character. What I saw of her on Clone Wars, she was fine. What I saw of her on Rebels is okay. It's clear that, like, I guess it is solely Dave Filoni's creation, and he must get the money and the rights to it, which is why he throws that character into everything and refuses to kill her off. I think it is unacceptable that you give Anakin Skywalker a Padawan, knowing full well that her name never comes up by either Obi-Wan or Darth Vader in any of the movies. And then the fact that you have that character alive throughout the entire rebellion, that is it's not okay. She would have like Yoda knows her, Obi-Wan knows her. She would have come to help Luke in some way. Like,
that's a fantastic point, and that is something that I did think about.
And that's kind of my problem with Clone Wars, and Star Wars Rebels for that matter too. It's nice to have projects like that sort of like fill in the gaps because you want to know more about the Clone Wars because it's the promise of something really cool and what was going on in the rebellion before Luke got involved, you know? And it's like you want to see those things. But when you do that, you end up creating more questions than you have answers for. It's very weird to think that there were multiple Jedi that were helping the rebellion at various times. And then, like with the Clone Wars, I feel like too much gets sort of convoluted and weird, and it kind of takes away from Revenge of the Sith in certain ways.
Not hard to do.
I don't want to defend the prequels too much because, like I've said before, just because the sequel trilogy is bad, that doesn't make the prequels better as far as films go. But I definitely do appreciate them more now than I did before.
For sure, as do I, weirdly. But you do bring up sort of I feel the old flame rising within me as you brought up the things that don't make sense, sort of about the Ahsoka Tano character or other characters like her. It's the whole Rogue One rules that I had for myself personally going into that movie, sort of the rubric to grade it on.
Yeah,
and one of them was they all have to die because if you didn't, I would have fucking heard about you. And they did it. So this one's a little bit different. Maybe they'll somehow explain that, where she's been, why she didn't help. I don't know. I think in a vacuum in this episode, I thought she came off really well. I really liked the moment where she was refusing to train Baby Yoda because she's seen what, how he's feeling can lead to the fall, can even take down the very best of us. I thought that was a very powerful moment. And I really liked her duel with Elspeth at the end too. It was Ghost of Tsushima. It was very samurai showdown. I liked that a lot. It was Kill Bill, and it was great. I enjoyed that thoroughly, and I also liked how badass the Mandalorian was with Michael Biehn. That their own little sort of standoff was great in its own right too.
That was cool.
But yeah, in terms of explaining where she's been, that's a big matzo ball.
I want to say that Star Wars Rebels did something, but that doesn't explain where she was for the rest of the war exactly. Because like when they first introduce her and everything, she gets. I'm gonna do just like a quick Clone Wars spoiler for you because I don't think it really matters. She gets expelled from the Jedi Order. So she's not around for the fall during Order 66. And so she doesn't know that Darth Vader...
So she's kind of Jolie Bindo.
Yeah, kind of. So she didn't know that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker at first. She assumed Anakin died during Order 66 like the rest of them. Okay. And then she comes into contact with Darth Vader, and then obviously she senses something. And then like that's when she realizes who he is. And then they faced off against each other at one point in Rebels. I don't remember exactly what happens. I mean, I know it gets to the point where the two of them just sort of get like he tries to kill her. They do fight each other, which is the right thing to do. I think they should have just had Vader kill her, honestly.
Yeah, it would make him more badass, which he needs to be.
Yeah, and I mean, he killed Obi-Wan. He would have killed her too. I forget exactly how it went down, but I don't know. I just don't find it to be that satisfying. And the same thing kind of comes to me with Grand Admiral Thrawn. They did something with Thrawn with his exit on Rebels, and it's like, well, they're going to have to explain where the fuck he's been.
Well, in the books, they do. And he was far beyond the Outer Rim.
Yeah, see, I don't know if all that fits anymore.
Happened.
With,
well, if it doesn't, in my opinion, they don't have to hold with it, and they can just do that again. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter anyway. My thing with the name drop of Grand Admiral Thrawn too is it really is just a name drop to get reactions and everything. It's like I just don't know, man. Like I don't know. Some of the things with the Mandalorian, it's kind of upsetting me a little bit. In this episode, it's like written and directed by Dave Filoni, and to me, it shows. Because I do feel that he just kind of throws a bunch of shit in. It doesn't seem to be as well crafted as some of the other stuff. I don't herald him as some great Star Wars savior as much as other people. I do think that he has more of a love for the subject than some of the other people who have worked on the project. And that shows as well, obviously. And I would rather watch his Star Wars stuff, even if I don't like everything that he does. Because I still know that it comes from like a place of passion. I still know that for the most part, I think Star Wars fans are going to enjoy it, and you're going to get like at least something fun out of it.
Yeah.
And then as far as the other thing I want to say about the Thrawn name drop is, I wonder if he's setting up some sort of Ahsoka Tano show or movie, and Grand Admiral Thrawn will be the villain in that. I don't know if it'll have anything to do with Mandalorian.
Yeah, and
that's
I mean,
what I think.
And I guess I love Grand Admiral Thrawn not for his appearance in Star Wars Rebels, but for, in my opinion, the very best of the expanded universe books, the Heir to the Empire trilogy. So he is a villain that was befitting of the main characters of Star Wars to take down. So he's not really a villain.
Well, to Dave Filoni, Ahsoka Tano is like his main character. So I mean, he's throwing his big E against him. If that makes you feel any better.
I guess, that's one way of looking at it. I just, you're right. And usually the fan service name drops don't work on me. But that's
the name.
Yeah, exactly. If there was one to pull out, that's the one that could get me. And damn it, that son of a bitch got me. And it definitely worked, because hearing that pop up made me very, very excited. And maybe Thrawn shows up and then he takes his little trip back to beyond the Outer Rim again. I don't know. However they do him, I hope they treat him with respect. I know. You talked about that.
Yeah, on Rebels
they did in Rebels, which makes me happy. So I'm still excited to go back and take a look at that. But man, a Grand Admiral Thrawn, perhaps played by a Benedict Cumberbatch or somebody like that, would have just a tremendously high appeal to me in a live action setting. And they've already treated him with respect on Rebels, so I think they would do it here too. So that was exciting. What'd you think of the name? The Baby Yoda getting a name.
Like it went in one ear and out the other. It doesn't. You know what? I think they kind of missed a beat here. It would have been so cool if it actually just was Yoda, and then it was a time traveling thing, and this was Yoda's infancy, and Yoda actually knows everything that's going to happen, and he allowed it to play out how it was supposed to, because he knew that's what should have happened.
Dungeon Master.
I don't know. It's like, I mean, no. Of course, this is fine.
I don't know if he should have had a name yet. Maybe the Mando name.
Well, I don't know. He's like as old as Anakin Skywalker, isn't he? So, like, just because he's still a baby. I'll tell you one thing. I saw people bragging about this online, and I mean, I guess it's fine, but it's also sort of weird to me, too. It's a kick in the ass to the sequel trilogy, because Baby Yoda is not a Mary Sue, because he actually had received training from, like, multiple masters. Like, that's what Ahsoka Tano was talking about. So, it really is only Rey is a disrespectful character towards, like, the importance of the
Jedi ways
and all that stuff. She's the only shittily written character is what they were trying to say. And it's like, yeah, I guess, but like, was he a baby, or like how many memories is he, like a child? What am I dealing with here? Like, what's the level
we don't know.
of
It's
intelligence
a strange
of this
species.
Thing? Is he trying to commit genocide on those fish people?
Doesn't like frogs, bro.
Did he know everything that he was doing?
Eats them. Well, he did force
It's like,
choke
wait, you can
Gina
understand
Carano,
everything
too.
we're saying?
Yeah,
Little baby.
just didn't like her.
Yeah. But I mean, it's fine that he has a name. I hope they start using it. I'll remember it then.
Grogu.
Roku?
Goku. Yeah, Avatar Roku is officially his name. What's a Grogu? But yeah, I mean, I think that I would have been fine with Mando naming him or whatever. I get your point, though. He did train under. He would have had a name, but
He would have had a name.
it's a
he
weird
would have
species.
He would have had some sort of like person, like more of a personality at this point. Unless I don't know, maybe because of the kidnapping and him like being on the run, he's like regressed
Could
mentally
be
and everything too, which is possible.
raised by wolves.
I was going to say most of his life at this point. I guess it's kind of just been the blackness and him.
Let me
to be helpless.
this cat. This Grogu character still travels around in like a space bassinet, or at least until very recently.
And now in a little satchel.
And now a little satchel. Again, lone wolf and cub vibes. But, he's very much so a baby and is still sort of the same training level and is using the Force like Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is a fully fledged adult man in the prequels. It's ridiculous.
Well, because midichlorians.
Okay. Well, that's about as natural an endpoint as any for us to take a break this evening. Jeff's off the show. It's a series wrap on Jeff Budd. Have a great week, everybody. Remember, if you're a nerd, always say it loud and say it proud.
It was a good run, folks. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Hey everyone, Chris Seglia, CEO of the Tenno Media Network here. Thank you so much for listening to our content, but we need your help. Please rate us 5 stars, subscribe, and give us a shining review wherever you listen to this podcast. It really, really helps us out. And one more thing, please tell a friend if you can. Tell them Tasty Steve, Hanzo Gonzo, Markman, Rip, Ricky Replay, or someone who everyone loves sent you or something. That might help. Anyway, again, thank you for listening. And if you want more, make sure to check us out at www.ten-o.gg, www.10o.gg.